Hi, welcome to Abundance Masters. I'm your host, Genevieve Kahn of GenevieveKahn.com, and I'm an abundance creation guide. And this series, Abundance Masters, is about what abundance is to our guests. Of course, it's a subjective thing. I love to have guests on here to discuss it because everybody's got a different viewpoint. Some viewpoints are similar, but I just absolutely love to do that. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And today we have Suzie Cheel, who's known as the Heart Whisperer. Very excited to have Suzie here today so that she can give her experience. Hi, Suzie. How are you?
Hi, Genevieve, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here, and I love talking about and sharing abundance with people. So it's perfect.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So, Suzie, what do you consider to be your area of expertise as far as bringing in abundance?
What my area of expertise in bringing in abundance is, I suppose, is my passion as well. And it was interesting. I spoke about this last night. I finished off a little talk last night at a networking meeting about what I help people do is I help them open their hearts to love, so that they fully embrace the love that they are, the abundance that's within, so that then they can create their fully abundant life, and that for me means having radiant health, financial freedom, and that pure inner peace.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's such a beautiful way to sum that up, Suzie. Radiant health, inner peace. That's just, and of course, and wealth as well that you mentioned. So that's just great. I love that. So, Suzie, did you initially have trouble creating abundance in your life?
No, not initially, actually, which is very interesting. Initially, I lived a very abundant life. I just generally I lived a very abundant life, but then I don't know, maybe about 10, no, about 15 years, 20 years ago, I think my life changed. I'd been a teacher and I'd left that to set up a textile art business, which had been very successful, very successful. I was making, back in the 90s, I was making five figures very easily from my own hand-painted work. But somehow I lost the passion, and I started looking outside myself and went to courses and did other things and started to let go of my own confidence, my own intuition, and started to trust other people. And we lost a lot of money. We lost most of our money, actually. So that was when I had to really look at how do I bring abundance back into my life. So that was the thing. I think it was the losing the money, and then I got very sick. As you know, I had a near-death experience, and it's sort of what happened was I think I went within. And although on the outside, because everybody sees me as this wonderful, positive person and things, on the outside I was looking good. I was living in a bit of lack, and that dreadful thing of, what is it called, getting by. You just get by and you dumb down what you do, and all of a sudden you don't have the money to go to shows, go on holidays, all the things that we were so used to doing and things like that. And we lost our house as well. So it's
Wow.
been a really interesting rebuilding process. And it was interesting, the illness I had, which is actually 7 years ago this Monday, I landed in hospital. That was the biggest lesson for me. That is what I think I now share with other people. And even though I had done so much work on myself, I bought You Can Heal Your Life back whenever it first came out from Louise Hay. My biggest message to me from that journey was I have to really learn to love myself. and then the abundance will begin to reflow. So that's what I now help people do, is really learn to love themselves so we can bring in the wealth, the abundance, the prosperity in all areas of our life.
That's fantastic, Suzie. I love that you mentioned You Can Heal Your Life, because I'm actually rereading that right now by Louise Hay. And it's amazing how you mentioned when you were having these issues with where you lost all that money and you were having health issues, that the mindset that you had was kind of like about lack and just getting by. And I wonder if it's like a chicken or the egg scenario. Which came first? Did you have the lack or getting by first? Or when these things happened to you and you started losing money and your health, started, having issues, did that follow? Or was it the other way around?
No, I think that, I think we had the abundance, had the money, and then like it cascaded. We had the financial crisis, and a lot of what we were invested in just literally vanished. And so then all of a sudden, we did the, I don't know whether you've had to do it, the juggle, the money here, the juggle. And I spent so much time juggling and things like that. And then I got sick. So it was sort of like a wham, bam, down. And then what happened was, I think we got into that, just getting, you survive. And we live somewhere so beautiful because we live in what I call paradise. So we've had that wonderful life to sustain us. And I think that's probably helped us along the way to build back into this abundance, into the, living in an abundant life again. And and still working to get back to where I really want to be. So I'm truly having a bigger impact on the world. I mean, I know I already inspire and empower people, but we haven't been traveling and things for a while we've been, doing that rebuilding thing. And, I want to come back to the States and have Heart Whisper meetups and meet all these other people that I've worked with over the years on helping them love themselves more, so we all become more wealthy, abundant, and prosperous.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you have some wonderful presence on Facebook and Instagram, and we will make sure to share those links with our audience. And I love that you live in Australia. So I mean, and you get to. I love that when you're on Facebook and Instagram, you share all the time posts from the beach. And it's so inspiring.
Well, the beach to me, I didn't grow up by the beach. I grew up inland in Canberra, in our capital city here. But beaches were where we went for holidays 2 or 3 times a year. My parents were very big on holidays, so I was very blessed. We went to the beach for, 3-week holidays and 2-week holidays. And where I live now, as a teenager, we came up here for holidays to get away from the cold of Canberra, because Canberra has frost and 0 temperatures and all of that. And I would never have thought of living here. So I often wonder, as I found a photo of myself the other day, sitting on Kira Beach when I was 16, and I was thinking, oh wow, that was so I sort of have this thing of, we walk on this beach that people pay thousands of dollars from around the world and here to come to, and it was my healing place. I healed at a place called Rainbow Bay Beach. I went there for an hour every day, and it's where I go if I feel down or if I'm in overwhelm. I can walk, in 10 minutes, I can walk down to the beach, listen to something on my phone. I'll be walking as I go, and then I can walk, once I've got my feet in the sand and get my toes in the water, look at all that blue sky. And you might have seen, I often on the beach talk about abundance. Um, I get very disappointed sometimes, or I'm amazed, because I do have a very positive outlook on life. Even when things are down, I can see the positive in most of it. Although my husband occasionally will pick me up and say, "What's that language? You know, that you taught me all about this." And what
great.
would Michael say? Because I trained as I'm a law of attraction facilitator. I trained with Michael Lozier, the how-to guy. And but so often on the beach, we've got this beautiful expanse of blue sky. Like if I look out today, the sun's shining, there's blue sky, clouds. You might have skydivers coming down or whatever else. And there are still people walking along the beach, head down, no smile. And I always say good morning to everybody. You know, I sort of feel it's part of my role is to, let's start the day in a positive mode. There's so much to be, we are surrounded by so much abundance, but so many people don't see it. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people in lack and without the abundance that they really want.
I think it's such a great point that you're making, because there's always something to be grateful for. Always.
Oh.
Even if we don't live on the beach. Fortunately, my family and I just got back about a week and a half ago from a beach vacation up in Maine. So we're very lucky that we're able to do that. But there are times, and we have a brook in back of our house. So we're always living near some kind of water.
Got water. Yeah.
Even if one doesn't live near the water, though, there's still plenty to be grateful for. There's, even if it's something as simple as, there's food in your fridge, that kind of thing. I think if
you've got a bed to sleep in, you've got a roof over your head. Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes it needs to start from something that simple. And then if we keep looking every day for the little things to be grateful for, they're really not little, because as we build our gratitude, then we see how abundant we really truly are.
That's absolutely. And I think that's actually, that's one of the practices that I use with people is when I was doing my coaching, which I'm not at this current time, one of the exercises I would give people would be, for the next 10 days, get a little book, or I had a fold out little book they could print off, and come up with five ways abundance showed up in your life every day. And some people would say, "Oh." Now I said, "No, we're going to start really small. Look out the window. Maybe there's a bird, there's flowers, there's trees, there's air to breathe." It's very, very simple. And it's just a matter of starting it and then making it a daily habit.
Absolutely. I've also read where it's been recommended that you keep a gratitude journal and try to write.
I should have brought mine down. I keep a gratitude journal, which I currently, in the morning before sometimes I do it downstairs. At the moment while it's cold, I tend to stay in bed, where I write 10 things I'm grateful for.
That's fantastic.
And sometimes I do 5 things I'm grateful for in the moment or that have happened. And sometimes I do 5 things that I'm calling into my life, 5 things that I want to happen. And gratitude is a huge part of my daily practice, and it's also a huge part of the heart-centered business I'm involved with.
That's great. So would you say that gratitude was one of the main things that helped you get from that difficult time in your life to where you are today?
Yes, because if you can't be grateful in the moment, it's very hard to move forward, I believe. And somebody the other day, sent me a message in Messenger and said, they're having a down day, whatever else. What can you suggest? And I mean, one of the things I normally suggest is Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian healing prayer.
Yes, that is such a wonderful energy that is created within us when we do that.
And I use that. I still use that most mornings, just to put me in that thing. And I use it with EFT. I use it with tapping. I always have. And the other thing is to stand up from where you are, or get up, or whatever else, and just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And your body, your cells, your heart smiles and says, oh, right, okay. So, and I think we have to remember, like, the law of attraction says, we attract what we put out for. So if we're putting out that we're grateful, the universe is saying, they're ready. But if we're putting out, it's too hard, it's not going to work, or, and I think I probably wouldn't have healed as fast if I hadn't seen, I held that vision of being really healthy and not being one of the people on dialysis or anything like that. I just always saw it really clearly, and I held that every day. And I now do that for my future life, Suzie 2.0 that I'm moving towards now. And I do that visioning work in my meditation every morning.
That is fabulous. I love that you said Suzie 2.0, because we can reboot our lives whenever we choose to. And it's such a powerful thing. I think over the years I've done Gen 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. It's just, it's always new versions of myself. And it's just so great that you have that attitude. It's just such an important thing. Now, Suzie, you help so many people with your businesses. What would you say is the top way that you help them?
By giving them the tools to really learn to love themselves, to know that they're enough. And I'd just like to share, I've got a person who I've done a lot of work with, who was really negative. Everything was wrong in her life, but somehow she found me on Facebook, and she bought my cards, and then she bought readings, and I coached her for a while. But the main thing I did with her was what's called a heartscape process, where I look at where they're at in their lives, where they want to go. And I do a series of paintings. I do a series of, I think hers was 14 layers. So we did it over about 14 weeks, where I do a painting. And at each stage of the painting, I look at it, I listen to what she said, I channel a message, and I send that back to her. And then she comes back with how she's feeling, and I do the next layer. And then, so we did that. And she's going through a tough time at the moment with her husband, but she just said to me, all the tools, and I give people their own individual meditations and all the tools they need as we go through. Sometimes I do it in a month, sometimes it's longer. She was just, she was taking a long while to come back to me, which is why hers took, 3 months or something. And she sent me a message the other day, because her husband's not well again. And she said, the tools that you gave me they just changed my life. So when I read things like that, I just know that the open your heart and all the different processes, and a lot of the processes I have are not things I have on my website or that. They're things that I channel for that person that just come to me. I did it last night for somebody who works with us, and she just said, how did you know that? I said, I don't know, I was just typing it, and it was something I gave you to do. She said, it's just perfect. So I have this very strong intuition and energy that I don't see and I rarely feel, but I've learnt now to trust it. And as I'm trusting that, it's like I'm trusting my own heart whispers that I try to get everybody else to do. My life is totally changing, and I'm attracting very different people that I'm working with as well.
That's fantastic. And that really fascinates me when you talked about the client that you were working with. And I think I missed a little detail though. You were talking about 14 layers. What were
All
those
right.
layers of?
Can I pop off the screen for 1 minute and show you an example?
Oh yes, that would be great.
I've got one on the table.
Great. I can always pause the recording while you're doing that. So we'll be right back.
Process I came up with last year because I wanted to. I was just painting one layer for people. So what I did was this is my own heartscape.
That is beautiful, Suzie.
So that started as that. This one, my heartscape has 12 layers. I think I had 12 layers, 8 or 12. I can't remember. It's on there's a little movie of it, I think, on my website. So what I start with is what's underneath there. I mean, there's like a little mandala under there, but I just start with hearts or whatever. I just paint. I paint from whatever's in here, and then I keep going until until I feel it's complete, and that it's got a message that comes from it. And I do that. I don't do a lot of them, but I love doing them because I love the transformation that comes from people. And it was fascinating. Yes. So this normally lives above my desk, but I'm about to frame it for myself and put it hanging on the wall so that I remind myself, because as somebody said when they said, oh, this looks like the I Ching. And I said, well, I never saw it, but that was my final. The gold was the final. It's sort of like, I'm in the middle and I'm totally balanced.
Yeah, the way there's a circle there and radiating out like that, that does remind me of the I Ching. Yeah.
But I didn't think of that at all. But it's about me being balanced. And
it's so great.
But part of the process can be pretty ugly, painting along the way, but that then allows them to really just sort of meditate on it and say to them, what is the painting telling you? What's it telling you about yourself? And that's one of my services I still offer.
That's fantastic. I love how you just let spirit move through you, whether you're channeling for a client, whether you're creating through your art. That is just so fabulous that you're able to do that. Now, Suzie, what is one thing that you do every day to increase or maintain abundance in your own life?
Well, currently at the moment, I'm working through the Abundance book, which I started 46 days ago, and I missed a day. I did 20 days, and it was Des's birthday, and so we were going out, and somehow the whole day went, things, you don't do the normal things because we were going out. And
sure. I mean, if it's your husband's birthday, it's you don't have your regular schedule. Yeah.
Forgot to do this. So I had to start again. And today I've just done day 25. So what I'm doing with this, and if you've been watching me on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see that I channel a message every morning after I've done my meditation that relates to whatever that day is. And I've now decided that I'm going to do 40 of these and turn them into little square inspiration, abundance and prosperity daily message.
That's such an important thing, that you're literally working on your own abundance every day. And that's fantastic.
I am, but this is the secret. I believe this is something that I've just started using this year. Is the book called The Magic, which is 28 days of gratitude. And from this, I have developed a whole lot of new gratitude practices that I wasn't doing before. I think I've been through I think I'm on the second or third go through the book. So I read some of this. Is a daily thing. I think your daily gratitude. And the other thing, I have more than one thing. I think meditation is really important. And I don't, I'm always amazed. People say, it's time, the me time you give to you. If we don't give to ourselves first, if we can't allow ourselves to receive some time for us, how can we allow ourselves to receive the prosperity and abundance that we really, I believe, deserve and desire?
Absolutely.
So that's really, so I'm not perfect. I don't always do it. I start my day with, these days I start my day with this, and then I meditate on this. I journal, and as I journal, I get a message from the meditation, and then I read the and then I do my gratitude. And then I exercise before I normally walk on the beach. And today I didn't walk on the beach because I'm talking to you about the time we would normally do that. But yes, I have a real morning routine, and I try to stay away from this. I'm not always successful because I like to put my message up onto the story and onto Facebook and Instagram. But that's been a powerful thing for me, is not to go on. Like, believe it or not, I haven't been on Facebook or Instagram except to post something today. And I probably won't till about after 10 o'clock this morning. And I think when I do that, my days go much more smoother because I'm in my life. And what I'm meant to be doing, I'm not in somebody else's. So somebody used to say to me, what's in your email box? Is it something that's going to move you forward, or is it something that's going to send you off on that bright, shiny object syndrome, which I'm very good at losing my track. I used to be very good at getting distracted by.
That's so important that you mentioned that. We really need to take care of ourselves first. And as women, because we're nurturers, our default is to give to everybody else first.
Yeah.
It's very hard to give to an empty well, though.
Our default is to say yes to everybody else and no to ourselves. And the hardest thing, I think, to learn is to understand that being selfish for yourself is really, really important. And it's not what our mothers told us. Don't be so selfish. Don't put yourself first. What I wish I'd learned, as a youngster, to put me first, because I had a mother who was one of the world's biggest volunteers. She was always at a committee or somewhere else and doing that. A very loving mother, but that's what, that was her default mode, and that was part of how she was brought up as well. But she never had that self-confidence, and I believe that what happens is when we give ourselves time for ourselves and we give ourselves the love that we need, we develop the confidence and the love and the joy, and then we have so much more to give to other people.
That's exactly it. And I think it's almost as if our default was to have it backwards. We need to fill our own well first. And this way we give our loved ones the absolute best of ourselves. And that way everybody wins. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Suzie. So unfortunately, we're kind of closing in on the half an hour here. So I'd like to ask you, what is the number one thing you'd like our viewers to know about creating abundance?
Be grateful. Be grateful in the moment, and be grateful every day.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where I could talk about that all day.
I know. Yeah. I could say, love yourself first, because as I say, that's what I have. But I think until we can be truly grateful, not a lot of stuff shifts.
That is so true. Without gratitude, it's very difficult, because due to the law of attraction, what we think about, we bring about, right? So if we're negative, if we're feeling sorry for ourselves, if we're, stuck in lack, that's what we're going to keep creating. So absolutely. We need to shift that. And it can take a while. And it's something that we don't have to be perfect at. Once in a while, sure, we can still get caught in complaining and things like that. But I find personally, the sooner I move into more positive things, gratitude, abundance, the better I feel, the better my life works. So do you find that too, Suzie?
Absolutely. If I'm in poverty mode, or I'm thinking, oh, well, how do I do this or do that and that? Whereas it's about really trusting. It's about doing the work, but not knowing the how. And I wrote a blog post about this the other day. And what happened there was I realized I miss how does it work. I like to know how things work. So for those people who say, oh, it's too hard, I know that you've got to do, and you've got to be, not my strongest quality, but I have had to learn it, is patient. And you have to be patient with the process and trust. And unless we do that, we stay where we are. And I know that because I stayed where I was for too long without making that shift.
Yep, same here, absolutely. And it's one of the other universal laws, which is so wonderful, is the law of allowing.
Yeah.
Just trust that what we want is on its way. And this has just been such a great interview. Thank you so much, Suzie Cheel, for joining me for Abundance Masters. And as we're wrapping up here, how can people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me at Suzie Cheel across the web. I think I'm the one. I think there is somebody else, but yeah. So that's SUZIECHEEL. My website is suziecheel.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and maybe I just was thinking, I hadn't thought about this, but I thought if there's anybody interested in, creating their abundance through really developing their own, having their own heartscape and things like that, just message me and say you've come from the Abundance Masters, and I will give you it'll be a very special price for that, which is not on the web.
Thank you so much, Suzie. That is so generous of you. And we're hoping that you have gotten a wonderful experience from being an interviewee here. And to our viewers, we hope that you have gotten a wonderful experience here as well. We look forward to continuing to bring you more Abundance Masters. Thank you so much.